Were you an athlete, school teacher, or maybe worked in a corporate world? Our careers, they tend to be the way that we identify ourselves. Now, what happens when that identity is taken from you? We found ours in real estate. Now, let us help you find yours on the Free Agent Real Estate Investing Podcast, starting now.
Welcome to the Free Agent Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your co-host, Stratton Brown.
And I'm your other co-host, guys, Michael Butler. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. As always, it's a blast to have y'all.
Before we get started, we're too cheap for ads. Go share it with your friends. If it brings you any value, share it with your friends. Share it on social. It's the only way we grow. We want to, eventually start getting guests on here, fly them in, right? But in order to do that, we need a lot more clout.
Yeah, man, because we get views. We get people on here, and then on the platform where it shows how many people listen to it. I think we could have released it better. Maybe. But at the end of the day, bro, that's us. That's just how we are. We rely a lot on our audience to help us grow. You know what I mean? We're very sporadic in how we do things. This might be the one thing that's consistent in our lives. It's a podcast every Wednesday at 12 o'clock.
This shit is like the only thing that's consistent in my life.
Yeah.
Right? I need to work on it. I'm going to start 75 hard again.
Are you?
After, I think I'm going to do it through Christmas. Kalani's going to hate me.
Through Christmas?
Yeah, I'm going to do it through Christmas just because I'm traveling to Austin on Sunday and then I come back and then I go to Orlando. Mm-hmm. But bro, it's just been so much drinking and I'm in a massive funk. One of today's things is how to get out of a funk. For me, fucking 75 hard, bro.
100%. A lot of people, here's the thing. A lot of people talk about, and we make fun of it, right? When I say we, just general public. Excuse me, guys. Make fun of it in the sense of here comes all the New Year's resolutions and starting it off with a bang at the beginning of the year. And there's something to be said with finishing the year off strong, right?
Going. Why wait? We're in October. Momentum. We're
in October. This is the fourth quarter, man, and it's how do you? We talk about it a lot in a lot of things in your life. How do you finish? You can start one way, but how do you finish? Because everyone can start. Everyone can be like, okay, here we go, January 1st. But can you fucking finish? You know what I mean? So instead of waiting till New Year's to have your New Year's resolution, why not start Q4? Start your year off fucking great.
100%. You know what I mean? And what's going on, Justin? Thanks for tuning in, boss.
I appreciate that, man.
But for me, bro, the biggest thing is the drinking. I feel like I've been talking about this for 3 weeks. But with how much I travel and then I get the masterminds, it's all drinking, building relationships. And even though, Andy Frisello says oh no, you don't need to drink. I go out there just to bond with them. And that's when we're at the Storage Rebellion Mastermind this last weekend. I truly do believe that the biggest benefit out of those masterminds, I learned a ton there, but the relationships that come with it, of me drinking with them at 1 a.m. at a casino, burning money, and we both I'm right, but just doing drinking things.
So could you not do those things without having a drink?
I wouldn't want to.
Do you think you're not a person that seems like you can't have a conversation with someone that you don't know unless you have that little edge taken off? I
mean, not at all, but I have fucking fun. Yeah. Right? I go hard.
He said I go hard. You're still young though. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Yeah, you're still kind of young.
And then it's somewhat of a problem, right? Kalani sent me a picture the other day of when I was in Orlando. It looks like I got murdered. I was FaceTiming her, my eyes were bloodshot red. But so the Storage Rebellion this weekend, and it was an amazing mastermind for our self-storage stuff that we're doing that Kalani's spearheading.
Can I pause you real quick? Because I want to make sure that I give everybody that opportunity. If you're watching anything that we say, please make sure that you guys leave a comment. Go ahead and ask a question. And as we go ahead and switch topics and stuff like that, as we always do, we'll make sure we're able to get to those answers for you guys, because that's very important for us. So make sure you drop questions in there, no matter what we're talking about. You may feel like it's random. We're very sporadic. Just put it in there and we'll cover it.
And comment if you agree with any of the things we do talk about.
Or if you've experienced it.
We're going to jump from thing to thing. So we're there, right? And then we do stuff all day. But from all the relationships, from all the investing in myself that I've done in the different masterminds and everything else, hands down, the biggest thing that's come out of it is the relationships I've had.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, how'd you get so many people on your podcast? Well, I fucking know them. I go out and I drink with them until 3 a.m. Right? To where this weekend, again, I'm going out with some of the people and we're all having a good time. And then now we have like a group chat. We have inside jokes because we're all going out and doing those things of going out and drinking, going out and having a good time, going to the fucking casino at 3 a.m., whatever it is. But at least that way you can build those relationships with your people. Because I think a lot of people don't. Oh, wow. That's what a lot of people miss in their relationships.
Yeah.
And like Andy Frisell is at a completely different place than us. Like he doesn't have to go out and drink with people to build his network and brand, right? Like the dude is massive. Like he's a billionaire at this point.
Yeah. I guess I see it. I see both ways of that, right? And I think it all comes down to kind of where you are at that moment, right? Because I can definitely, and I'm not that much. I'm not older or anything, you know what I mean? But something to be said for after you hit 30 years old, right? And so I can't hold it as good as I can hold my liquor, but it's almost not worth it sometimes. And so the feeling that I get from starting things like 75 Hard or just being on a grind, there's just certain things that I just don't care to do because the feeling is just so amazing of being, of you know what I mean, of being cleansed and stuff like that. So your body adapts to things, and when you're drinking, your body adapts to drinking. So you don't really realize that you feel bad until you get cleansed.
You're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
And so once you start feeling like that, it's sometimes you just don't want anything to fuck that up. You know what I mean? So I get where Andy's coming from because he's like, man, this is the best I felt my whole,
well, you lose your momentum when you like 75 Hard. I love the like whole year-long program because it'll probably be the best year financially you've ever had in your life and mentally.
Yeah.
Like if you stick to it, and we both talk about this all the time. I hate discipline, but discipline equals freedom. Like that whole Jocko thing. Like the more disciplined I am, the more regimented I am in my life and treat every day the exact same, no matter what, I will be extremely more successful. I'll feel better. My anxiety's down. I feel more in control of my life. I'm getting ahead of things. My mornings are better.
Yeah. And just to add on to this, we got a question from Justin. Justin, what's 75 Hard? And so that's something to clarify too, because a lot of people think 75 Hard is a diet, and it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle change. It's a way that you go about it's creating healthy habits and what we consider laying bricks to your foundation day in and day out. So, and make sure you add to it if I miss out on anything. But essentially, there's different phases of 75 Hard. And the initial phase would be you stick to a diet. You stick to a diet, right? No matter what you choose what the diet is, the biggest thing is sticking to it, being consistent with it day in and day out. You got to drink a gallon of water. You have to have 2 45-minute workouts. One must be outdoor. You have to read 10 pages of a self-development book. And then there was a fifth one. What was the fifth one? It was the gallon of water, the 2 workouts, reading. Oh, you have to take a picture. You have to take a picture before the 24 hours or before your quote unquote work day ends. Before you go to sleep. And you do that for 75 days consistently. And what's that supposed to show you is pretty much ultimately when you stick to whether it's eating something bad or, you got a good diet that you're going to go off of. When you do that for 75 days consistently, you'll start to see changes in your body. So it's one of those, it's just an effect of doing this type of program. And when you're reading 10 pages a day for 75 days, you should get through a couple books. And so you'll start to see the way that your mind shift changes. And drinking the water, you should be able to have a whole lot more energy. Your body's going to start to recover. But the biggest thing I believe is when you start to what makes it a challenge is because now you don't have the excuses that you would typically tell yourself if there's no accountability. I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of people is just having that accountability of knowing that you have to start over if you don't complete one of those things. So none of them are really huge things. But if you don't do it consistently, you end up having to start over. And so it teaches you how to focus your attention on details on days that you don't feel like you can do it, right? You have to channel in that focus. And it's just really an accountability thing and being able to tell yourself that when you put your mind to something, you can finish.
Well, I'd say most people haven't had to push through hard things in adulthood.
Yeah.
Like just legitimately, like mentally, physically, I feel like we've been blessed as far as being athletes. like to where I was like, bro, I'm always going to work the hardest, and like that's how I kind of calloused my mind.
Yeah.
But then even in football, like you go through some stupid hard shit for no reason, and it's just to callous your mind. To where if you apply that into a different vertical, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Right. So that's really good. And yeah, hell yeah, Justin, start that today, bro.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Make sure you share it on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, right? Because you can use your followers and people like that to hold you accountable. Also, that's just a different layer for it.
And get gassed. I failed. And Justin, by the way, I failed 3 times before I finished.
Yeah,
three or 4 times. It took me like a year to finish.
Wow.
It took me and of bullshit and negotiating with man or bitch. Like, bro, you're day 3 in. Eat some fucking cake.
Yeah.
Right. To where, bro, we can just start over. We're not that deep. Right. To where you got to get that momentum, and then it starts to get like, oh man, I'm gonna lose it all.
And the biggest tip I can give you is when people think the 2 workouts a day, everyone thinks that it has to be strength training, and you can feel like on day 1, day 2, like I'm just walking, this shit's weak. But when you start to hit day 30, day 40, and you're still trying to go hard in the gym 2 times a day, like, whether it be outside, you're doing some CrossFit activities outside and you're doing strength training on the inside, by day 10, you're going to start feeling it. And that's usually when people are going to end up failing out of it. Keep it simple. Keep it something that that you could probably manage for 75 days, but still be able to get a good workout in, because 75 days is a lot. And when you mix an hour and 30 minutes daily, you're going to get results as long as you're consistent with it. And I think that's to show for anything in your businesses and stuff like that. You do anything for 75 days, no matter how small it is.
Regimen.
Yeah.
And and this is why we go back into KPIs. This is what will get you out of your funk, right? Because you're doing a bunch of different things the wrong way, and you started to lose your discipline in whatever you're doing. Because odds are, again, most people aren't smarter than you. They're just more disciplined than you, and they can develop skills faster than you are because they're more disciplined in developing the skills. Right. So if you can just put that 75 hard in place, I know you saw a jump in your income, like the jump in the better way you feel. Like, sure. There's just so much more momentum that's going on, and it comes from the discipline that you start to implement in your life, in your business. Because once you do all those other things, once you implement all those things, or you can start to think of other things you can put in place in your business. Like, hey, this thing regimented every day. We need to do this every day. And when you're already in that checkbox and roll, like, okay, well, I'm doing this, this, and this, you already built that momentum for your fucking day, dude. And then you can go and attack your day even more, especially when you knock it out in the morning.
Yep. And that's what it teaches you, right? You don't want to be up late trying to knock off three of the 5 items when you could just wake up an hour earlier and be able to have a workout in, your gallon of water almost done, you done read. Like, it doesn't change anyone's schedule in the sense of your family life. And it makes it a whole lot easier in the evening, because at the end of the day, life happens, shit happens. And so what you're doing is pretty much you're being able to handle all those things, or most of those things, before life comes around and tries to fuck it up. So when people say, oh, I just didn't have enough time. No, you just didn't manage your time correctly in order to get done what you needed to get done.
100%. Well, that's what I have. And that's how. Do you have any other ways to get out of a funk, bro?
Other ways to get out of a funk? I guess really just analyze it. Look back and see why it is a funk. Like, what is it that you're struggling with? Why do you believe that you're struggling with it? And pretty much who do you know that could have potentially gone through something similar? And asking questions, right? They talk about mental health a lot, and a lot of mental health is really, I think they said Dak Prescott now, he wears on his wrist, ask for help, because he struggled with mental.
Especially think about last year, bro.
Yeah, last year, and then a lot of people don't even talk about, like, his mom passing away the year he got drafted, and just a lot of shit that could just really be hard on somebody, especially with football and just like in anything. Like, you dedicate so much of your life to certain things, and I tell people all the time, like, football, like you miss out on a lot of time with your family, especially in college, because of the schedules and just you got to make it a priority. So you already have a guilt on missing out on a lot of things, but it's for the greater good, right? And so he has on his tape, on his wrist tape, that he wrote, ask for help. And I think so many times, especially as men, especially as Black men, I think sometimes it's frowned upon or it's looked down on to ask for help.
To be open,
to be vulnerable, you know, and to be honest with you, I think that's the biggest compliment of a man, is being able to ask for help, be vulnerable.
And this is again why you need to find a good mentor, because I am extremely vulnerable with mine, of whatever's going on upside in my psychopath head, of my insecurity, right? And then they get to know like your insecurities, like, oh bro, you're thinking this way because of X, X, and X. Like, you can be open with them of where you're at. And it's the more open you can be, and we try and make this a really open podcast. Like, you're telling yourself a lie if you're telling yourself that other people aren't going through the same shit you are. Because like everybody's just trying to put on a front for whatever reason, because that's the way society was made. But everybody's going through mental health shit, even in business, bro. If anybody's saying that like 90% of their day is awesome every day in business and they're running a legitimate business, they're wrong. Like, yes, but
your mindset on how you process the shitty stuff
is one thing,
and that's what can make you feel like 99% of your day is fucking awesome, because to you mentally it is, because you've learned how to handle those
but there's stressors. Still like, bro, Elon Musk still has problems. Jeff Bezos still has problems. They have bigger, different problems where they're dealing with the fucking government. And at a completely different level, but they still have problems. And so it's okay to talk about your problems. That's why I always say join masterminds, so you can talk to people about stuff, and then you're getting into stuff like, hey man, I'm struggling with this with my family. I'm struggling not being an asshole and working 24/7 because I can't turn it off. Other people can give you tips, right? These are the things you need to be actively open about if you do want to grow. Because what's the point in having a bunch of money if you're divorced and broke? Well, in fact, you're divorced and you're old, none of your kids want to be with you, you don't have your wife anymore, and then you have all this money, but what are you going to do with it? Then you have no one to share it with.
And so I had taken a note. I'm trying to see what I had on there. But I was listening to a podcast earlier, and they were talking about being humble. And they said, you know, you're not being humble, you're hiding. You know what I mean? And usually with our insecurities, it could come across as, you know, us just being humble, not wanting to talk about it, but we're really hiding from actually talking about it and having to deal with those insecurities in order to be successful. So I thought it was deep, man. I took notes on it, and I was like, man, that's some powerful stuff, because it can come across as someone just being humble, but really they're just hiding from the truth.
Oh yeah. I talked to a guy this weekend at Storage Rebellion, Steve Kefanoff. And him and Alex Pardo run a mastermind called Ascend. And he was like, the majority of people's business problems are personal problems that they project onto their business. As soon as you fix yourself, your business will be fine, because the business is already meant to run. But as soon as you like fix yourself, odds are you're going to fix the problems, because generally, and most of your business
people driven,
right? They're people driven, or maybe your business is running really well and you hop in there and just fucking self-sabotage everything. Like, you never know, but it's not an uncommon occurrence for people to self-sabotage themselves.
Wow. Some deep shit.
Most of this shit you got to do, bro, is just fucking thinking on what's going on upstairs. Because the upstairs shit, I don't know why I haven't been cognizant of what's going on upstairs for me for, I'd say, the last 2 years. But I haven't. Like, I've just been pushing forward. And then now it's really moving into thought auditing. How can I think better? How can I put more constraints on myself? To where I was listening to Tim Ferriss's podcast yesterday, and then I've been listening to a couple other ones to where, okay, how can I do make the same amount of money with less time? So at this point in time, I've made more money than I've ever made in my life this year. And 90% of my time has been spent on something that hasn't made any money month to month. Think about that. 90%
of your time?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Right. So if I can put those types of constraints on myself, then what else can I do with that other 90% of my time to increase that?
Yeah.
That's been something that's like, oh, well, yeah. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
But if you put constraints on yourself, you can see what's really possible. And like, what do you want it to look like? So I want a company with 2 employees that nets me $200,000 a month.
Yeah. Wow. And as an audience, have you guys gone through something similar, right? What are some of the insecurities that you would say that you're having in your company or your business, or even just your life, that you feel like you're putting a front on? And let's kind of talk about some of those too.
What are the fronts that people put up? Oh, we're doing this many deals, even though you're doing $1,000 deals and you're a stupid bitch, right? Like, oh, we're doing 30 deals a month, but they're doing $1,000 deals. Like, I try not to ever talk about how many deals we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try just because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, hey, and Steve's sales training, right, that my team just got into. One of the questions that they ask when they break you into different meetings is pretty much how many deals are you doing a month consistently, right? And so there's a group for if you're doing 5+ deals a month, and there's a group for if you're doing at least a deal a month consistently, right? And so you talk about, being humble or hiding, right? Now, a lot of people will sit there, oh man, we do 5 deals a month, but the key word was consistently. You know what I mean? If you're not doing 5 deals a month consistently, then get your ass down to the other group. You know what I mean? And it was no problem for me to 1 deal a month. Right. Yeah, I mean, there's no problem with that because now you gotta stop thinking about yourself and you got to start thinking about the people who are going to be in that group. I'm not bringing any value. I may have, some things, but I'm not really bringing no value to those people and we're paying for this.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Humble yourself, get your ass in the right group and go learn how you can get yourself bumped up into the other group. You know what I mean? So you actually have value to add to those folks.
The only other thing I would say as like devil's advocate, like I was talking about earlier, you don't want to back, oh, well, we only do 1 deal a month, but our market makes more money than the majority of other markets in America.
But
don't, you
can do that with less deals. You can make more money.
Don't kill yourself though, right? Because like a developer who does 1 deal a year and they make $10 million.
Like a developer, but this is a wholesaling or sales in general, right?
And we're in wholesaling, right? But I'd say our average wholesale is 20 to 30.
Yeah.
If you're
right now, your average wholesale deal is like shit. You killing it, and it could be growing a little bit more. Because we closed one recently. That was a pretty damn big one. Right. That was a huge one. But before that, I mean, we're talking, 5, 10. I mean, because we have a couple closing, soon that's going to be the same thing, like 5, 10. And I feel like it's been that way for about a year or so. And you'll have those home runs every 2 to 3 months or whatever. But for the most part, consistently, it's like 5 to 10. I guess 10.
Okay, 10, but then it's split in 2.
Yeah, that's why I said, yeah.
Right,
yeah, so they are bigger deals, yeah.
Right, they're just bigger deals that are easier to deal with. What else do we have in here, bro?
I heard something, again, I was listening to another podcast, and they talked about the reason why you're not successful in your business is because you don't want to be responsible when shit goes wrong. And they gave the idea, or they gave the example of like a pilot and why pilots are essentially successful, right? Because a pilot doesn't fly the airplane. That's all GPS navigation, traffic, air traffic control. And the pilot is really just there for if shit goes bad. You know what I mean? They have the experience to be able to try to save the lives. They're responsible for the lives that are on the plane. And so they talk about, just doing your job, whether you work for somebody or you work with someone in a particular company, your value is in being responsible and not working for the money, but working to essentially take on responsibility. And when you start taking responsibility and doing your job, the money follows it because now there's value. And so the complaint on that was, why am I paying you money when I still have to show you how to do your job? I don't get paid for showing you how to do something or walking you through how to do it all the time, right? Because essentially I might as well do it.
Yep.
So why would someone pay you they pay you for a job that they actually have to show you how to do it all the time? And then they got to turn around behind you and make sure that you did it right. So then it's, well, why am I paying you?
Right? Why am I paying you?
Why am I paying you? Because essentially I'm doing it. So they said, learn how to take responsibility for your job so that people don't have to come behind you and double check it, or they just don't feel that you're going to be able to do it to the capacity in which it should be done.
I mean, that goes to 2 levels, and I love that from an employee standpoint. But at the same time,
you got to coach. You got to coach them originally. You have to set the standard of what it looks like.
All I care about is the framework of what needs to be done. How you get it done is up to you. You only get paid a certain amount.
It said, have some control. Don't take people's money when you work for them and they still have to work after they pay you.
Oh yeah, no, that's dog shit.
You know what I mean? So I pay you to do something. I shouldn't have to come behind you and clean up after you were supposedly to do it. And I shouldn't have to come behind you after I've paid you and clean up what you've done.
No, but I mean, if that's, you need to fire that person immediately.
It was just what I heard on the podcast, right? So I was like, oh man, that's, because we all do it self-consciously. We all, we all do it, and you don't realize that you're doing it. But when you hear it like that, you're like, well, shit, some real shit. And you start thinking like, well, shit, who am I cleaning up after paying them to do something, right? And so it really makes you start to think.
Well, I think a lot of people don't want to be responsible, and that's why people aren't big on social media, because you're going to take a fat L and you don't want to be blasted.
And that's why they're not successful.
Well, they don't want the smoke, right? They don't want the smoke. They don't. You know how many people cannot handle being LeBron James?
Oh, bro, no,
like that's
he's resilient, dog.
Like that's the smoke I'm talking about. So if you're big on social media, you're posting about your business, like you're doing all of these things, and then you take an L, or LeBron James supports China in some bullshit fucking government situation, but he still took it. The dude took it on the chin and fucking kept going.
You got to, bro. People are wrong. Sometimes we're wrong a lot. And I think that's what's awesome about social media. Like people can say, you could be clout chasing, whatever that may be, but social media is the biggest accountability partner you will ever have, because you can't get on there and tell them I'm starting 75 hard. No. And then after 31 days, they don't fucking hear from you. No. Hey, bro, you still doing 75 hard? Man. No, man, I don't do it. I stopped because of this. You got to answer to it.
You got to answer.
You know what I mean? And that's what I love about social media. And that's why I share so much on social media, because Max Maxwell said it when he first got started. He was like, I just documented everything. And he was like, when I did that, it was my accountability partner. He's like, that's how YouTube started for him. It was just recording it to have an accountability, because I knew once it was out there, I would have to do it.
Yeah. And that's awful. It's awful, right? But it works.
Well, I wouldn't say. I mean, but that's how people are,
awful, right? It's how people
are.
Yeah,
it's how people are.
The person,
100%
for the person.
Because every day I'm like, man, after football practice, I should probably walk around the track a couple times. Oh, when I get home, man, I should probably just go on for a quick 45-minute walk. And I'm like, But when it was 75 hard, I was like, shit, I still got this walk. Like there was no negotiation.
None.
Because I knew I didn't want to start over.
None.
You know what I mean? So like the only difference there was that it was some type of accountability that I had. It wasn't a difference in how I felt that day. It was just like when I go home right now and I say I need to go on a 45-minute walk, there's nothing holding me responsible to going on that walk.
I think more people than not are afraid of the smoke. A lot of people are afraid of all the smoke. They don't want to talk about their business. And yes, there's one thing to be said for like not putting all your fucking info out there, right? And that's okay. But I think a lot of people like are afraid to where when shit does hit the fan and they do take an L, and that, right? What do people think about you? And that's the next thing, like we talked about last week. Who gives a fuck? Like again, you have to get over it. Other people are going through their own bullshit, and honestly, they can talk shit on you, but they still have their own fucking problems they got to deal with. And them talking shit doesn't solve your problems. Like if they could talk shit on you and still solve your problems, like I'd care.
Yeah, they got too much time to be talking shit to me.
Right?
Why you got so much time to be talking shit to me?
Bro. Here we go. How to get out of the funk. Storage mastermind recap. Bro, self-storage is wild.
Hey, Justin, what exactly is it that are you new to real estate, or are you new to something else? What exactly are you getting into? What exactly are you new to?
How'd you find us, dude?
For sure. How'd you find us? So the storage wars you went over, we didn't even talk about how we actually just we just went in contract to do another Airbnb. And this one's going to be pretty, I'm pretty excited.
Is that from the lady that we talked to?
The lady that we talked to.
That you talked to last week?
Yes. So now I'm already working one with, it was a family member reached out to us, told me how much they were looking for, still wanted to go take a look at it. And it just worked out, man. And she's also sent us another one in Ontario, California. It's a condo. And I went to go look at that one. I didn't go look at it, but, I pulled it up using our resources, using Propstream. And we were able to look at it. I'm just like, shit, that's kind of distant. But since we've talked about this one that we just locked up, she's probably like thrown like 3 other ones that, she owns a lot of property. And she's just like, just trying to help us grow.
How are you financing the furnishings, or are they doing
it? Still did it private money.
You did?
Mm-hmm. So we'll do it that way, and then hopefully we get this thing up and going sometime soon, man. Hopefully sometime early November.
Estimated cash flow.
It's supposed, based off of what we were looking at, it should grow somewhere between about $7,300 a month.
Net.
Net, we'll probably make about $3,000 a month off of it.
Right, that's dope.
It'll be our highest grossing one.
I mean, what that puts you almost.
That'll put us at 2-4. That put us at 7,000 a month.
But it put you at 7.
Yeah.
You could retire.
No.
But like you could,
whatever.
But you could retire, right? To where,
yeah. And it's funny that you talk about growth, right? You talk about, most people sit here and say $7,000 a month. Like, shit, I ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? But you also got to understand that there's other businesses and there's other expenses and, things like that. And so, yeah, $7,000 a month is cool, but it ain't where I don't feel stress free. Right.
Well, you don't feel stress free. And I mean, if you're making $100,000 a year in California, you're only making like $6,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's bananas, dude. Congrats.
Thank you.
I mean, it's a big deal, like to build that like that other passive income.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Bro, I think it's dope. I think it's dope. I mean,
we've grown too much to kind of just, I get it. And I'm the person with the line that always says, sometimes you got to step outside of yourself and admire where you've gone. And that's just, to me, that's just not maybe because it hasn't necessarily happened yet, right? We're still in
it's not.
We're still in the process of getting it together.
It's not guaranteed, and it's not amazing. Oh, it's motherfucker Emilio. Emilio, I'll call you back.
Told you, bro. This is the one thing that's consistently on time, bro. It's this podcast.
This is my assistant Jay-Z is watching this. Jay-Z, we need to sync up both my calendars. I don't know how we got double booked. But I'll call you after this.
Hey, people don't put stuff on social media because they don't be wanting that smoke. I like it, Emilio. Hey, give them that smoke, dog. Smoke. Right. You got a call, dog. You on live. What's up?
All right, bro. We had a scheduled mentee call.
I love it.
But I mean, building the passive income, I think, is amazing. And this is what you wanted to do it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you've been pushing for it.
Well, we kind of took our foot off the gas on that in itself because it was taking away a lot from our wholesaling business or just our investment business in a sense of just my time. And so what I've done is kind of just let it speak for yourself, right? You continue to continue to do good. People talk about you. And it was a family member of someone that we're already arbitraging through who reached out to us and just the secret weapon might be my wife, bro. Like, I just take my wife and then they just, we're just such complete opposites. And they see how I'm just 100 miles per hour and my wife is very analytical. And so I think just seeing that combination of the both of us when we go on some of these appointments, it kind of just seals the deal for us.
That's nice. That's real nice. And Kalani's the exact same way, bro.
Yeah.
Kalani's like the polar opposite of me.
Yeah. As soon as we come away, I get a text message like, oh, they loved your wife. I'm like, fuck, what about me? Yeah. So that's kind of, it's always a good thing to have that polar opposite. They're always just like, hey, every time we talk to you, you just remind us of that, the book, The Millionaire Next Door. And they're just like, you're going to do wonderful things. And I'm just like, well, you guys are going to help us get there. You know what I mean? Like that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Salesman.
Hype
up salesman.
You guys are going to help us get there. By you guys trusting in us and continuing to give us more property that ultimately allows us to build for our future. And so I think they love having a piece of it or being a part of that, or at least feeling a piece of that.
Oh yeah. So we'll use that as a segue to the first thing we were talking about is like, where is your focus going and how you saw your wholesale business dip significantly when you focused on Airbnb. And I did the same thing with me with Call Magicians in my wholesaling business.
Yeah.
I set it up a little bit differently.
Okay.
So what is your best advice for people who are getting going? To me, I tell people don't even start 2 fucking businesses. Just focus on one. Right?
You say delegate it.
I used to say delegate it, but now like you start to see the mind space that each opportunity takes up in your head. And then so you're trying to solve 3 different problems at once if you would have focused all of that power. Just like the marketing thing, right? Like focus is everything.
I've said it before, and it's kind of what I've realized is that you almost you want to be great or good at one thing, until you have a money problem.
Yeah.
And so I think that makes more sense, because when you have a money problem, now you got to look at other ways of investing money. And the way that I seen Airbnb is that, yes, it was great. It is a great, like, if you're starting your investing with Airbnb, because you can, or however that may be,
do it.
Like, you can do that, but if you're already in wholesaling, you need to make sure that, yes, I do use private money when I go to get these properties, but my ability to pay back private money depends on my business, on the wholesaling business. So I can go find all these opportunities on accumulating more arbitrage deals, or even collecting down payments to go purchase one as an investment property, whatever that may be. But at the end of the day, you either have to qualify for these loans, which means if you've had your LLC or your business for 2 to 3 years already, right, you got to be able to show profit and loss and stuff like that to be able to qualify for some of these properties. Or you got to be able to talk to a private money lender and them feel secure enough in your wholesaling business to generate enough cash income to be able to pay them back. So the wholesaling business dying doesn't help you accumulate a portfolio, or to even feel comfortable doing so.
No, and so I would challenge you to think better.
In what sense?
And how can I do this without my wholesaling business?
How can you do it without your wholesaling business?
Right, like,
well, I don't work a regular job, so that's my income.
So, I mean, so that's one thing.
Right, because if I had a job already, then it's different, because I have a W-2, I can qualify for different loans, I can do things, hard money, whatever that may be. You can do those things, but at some point, you have to be able to prove that you can afford to pay people back.
Only other thing I would say is, okay, who can I partner with? Right, like, to where, like, we can still constraints.
So my thought with partnering with someone is that I'm selfish. I want the cash flow from it. So if I can't go do it myself, then I don't want to do it based off time. I don't want to. I know how much time it takes to do an arbitrage deal. And if I have to JV that with someone to take up whatever that may be, to me, it's not worth it for my time.
And the only reason I ask, so a lot of people in like the storage community, some of these fuckers just buy everything cash, and they don't do any bank financing. They will go raise $1 million to buy this thing. And then they take half of it, and their investors take half of it. And they have no quote unquote bank debt. Right. And there's less stress, right? To where you don't have that hard money loan lying over your head for that amount of time. Then you have to go out and you have to do the wholesale hustle. Just different ways of thinking to where, okay, number one, how can my life be easier? And I still accomplish the same thing.
Yeah. So I've thought about, in the sense of acquiring through purchasing, and what it would cost to purchase a property, and furnish it and stuff like that. Typically, you're just talking about, a down payment, or even if you, like you said, you're just paying it for cash. Okay, so how long at that point, if I have no money into it, right? I use a private money lender who's now you can secure it with the deed of the house, right? In the first position, because it'll be a cash purchase. They fund it, and you just eat the cash flow, in a sense of, like, all your cash flow from that property goes straight to your lender pretty much until you pay it off, right? So maybe you could buy 10 properties, and the way that you have that set up is that it costs you, $4,000 a month, basically, if you just did the whole lump sum, right? Of what it costs, maybe $200,000 plus the $20,000 to furnish, you get it up and going. Maybe the house makes $5,000 a month, and your expenses are $4,800 a month, right? Which is a typical rental at that point. And based off of the revenue that Airbnb makes, it will allow you to pay off your lender in like 2 to 3 years.
It's a long time.
You know what I mean? So, like, but maybe even sooner. Because the one that we're getting right now, the revenue on it, the gross revenue would be like $35,000 a year. I'm sorry, not gross. That'd be the net. It'd net about $35,000 a year. So, like, they cash flow enough to be able to pay lenders off. But I don't know if I want to do that work, whether I'm spending the money on it or not. I don't know if I want to do all of that work for that amount of time on managing the amount of units that I would want to not make any money off of it.
And so you're only using
because then I might as well go buy a regular rental.
Yeah. Well, at a point in time. So you're using wholesale money to pay off the lenders. You're not using the actual deal itself to pay it down.
What do you mean?
So you're just doing it in big chunks, like you said?
Yeah. So I put 15, 20 grand at a time on each of these. So I'm making a trade-off for $15,000 to $20,000 to make $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
Still a great yield.
And like you said, I'm gonna spend $15,000 on this house that's gonna bring me $35,000 in the next year.
Right.
So why wouldn't I do that? So, it's people can look at it as it's like, okay, well, arbitrage, because there's the thought that you're going to put $15,000 towards a home that you don't own. Right. And so there's the ability, or there's the possibility that a homeowner or a landlord can say, you know what, I want to sell the house. And you lose that money.
But you aren't investing into these homes. Only one, you invested in one of them. The rest of them, you're not. You're only buying furniture.
They're small investments, if anything. But then now that's where the challenge comes, right? Now you have to challenge yourself. And when you talk about security, these are conversations you have with homeowners before you even enter into an agreement with them. When they ask me how long I plan on being there, at least 20 years. And they look at me kind of like, 20 years. Because at that point, it's not worth it for me at that point. Why? I'm not taking this risk if you can't even, just fathom the thought of me being there for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when you enter into those, and I think that's why a lot, the landlords that I've spoke to, they really admire my ambition, because they understand that this isn't a short-term thing for me. I don't care if I own this house, because renters do it every day. They go rent a house and they plan on being there forever, right? And the problem is your landlord's going to put tile countertops in there. So what happens when your wife wants granite countertops?
Nothing.
Are you going to reach out to your landlord and ask them to put granite countertops?
Move out.
No, you'll probably just put them yourself. You love the house.
If I'm renting?
Yeah.
No.
But what if you want granite countertops? You love the school district. You love everything about it.
I mean, no.
Bro, I'm putting countertops in there. I don't give a shit. Because if I know putting granite countertops in a rental, what does that cost? $800 a slab? But what is the return on that when you talk about the bookings that you're going to get from that? How many people are going to pay a little bit more because it looks nicer? So I don't care that it's not my house and I'm putting granite countertops on it, because that's a short-term thing. You're thinking about, what if I get kicked out tomorrow? I'm thinking, how much money is this going to make me for the next 10 years?
So we have two different mindsets to where, yes, we invested into this like studio, but I'll never invest into something that I don't own because I have no control.
And I think that's just a bad way of looking at it.
I don't think it's a bad way of looking at it, because like you still aren't, if anything that would benefit you that I tell you to do with these, I'd still like push them to like buy that bitch at a point in time.
But that comes after you bring value. So now I'm a good tenant for so long, they're tired of dealing with these properties. Now I'm first in line for someone because I treated their home as if it was mine. They've understood how much money I've put into it, and they respect that. Now you talk about you coming behind trying to buy this house. It don't matter how much you offer. Though. It's not guaranteed, but not a lot in life is guaranteed. And I'm not going to bet my future on just trying to always get shit that's guaranteed. I'm gonna take a risk on myself.
I just don't like I don't like investing in something that is not an asset of my own. I'm 100% on board with like buying all the furniture, right?
Yeah,
because I don't give a shit. Like I can move it, I can do whatever I want with it. We can take it, we can place it somewhere else. But then if something does happen, God forbid that thing goes in. Like, to me, it's not worth the
God forbid what?
Like someone dies, right? Like God forbid someone dies, it goes into probate, they fucking want to sell it off, and then you lose the asset no matter what. Like just stupid shit like that. And that
shit happens. We lose money like that on dumb shit all the time. But dumb shit don't always bring the cash flow that this will bring me. Like honestly, the cash flow for me is the fucking is ultimately the fucking
what you want.
Like I'm not buying a house based off of the Airbnb cash flow, right? Which that could be pretty dangerous in a sense, because even if you own it, it could be an alligator property at some point if anything ever happened with Airbnb.
And then I want the I'm just thinking like 20 years down the road, I want the buy down and I want the depreciation. Like I want all the good stuff that comes with the actual real estate, to where like I'm at the end of it, I'm sitting there holding a property free and clear. If I jump through a couple other hoops, and yes, I give up a little bit, right? To where you're talking like, oh well, I'm giving up this much right now. I bring in a partner, I still jump through the same amount of hoops, but then at the end of it, where 20 years, I put them on 15s, right? I put them on 15-year mortgages. In 15 years, I have 100 that are free and clear, cash flowing the way I want, and then you're sitting there and you own 100, same thing, but arbitraged.
Well, my whole point
with no mix.
See, and I think that's where we get lost there, because, excuse me, man. My thought with arbitrage is that, like I said, we're going on property 3, and it'll bring us $7,000 a month. I know that I'm using arbitrage to ultimately build enough cash flow to the point to where my wholesale business at that point buys me my actual rentals to put as an Airbnb in my Airbnb portfolio. But kind of like how with Jason, we talked about Jason Pritchard and how he bought in certain zip codes that came with problems. But it got him to where he needed to be in his investment business, where now he sold them off, right?
But you can't sell yours off.
I don't need to sell them off. I just need the cash flow. They say when you're first getting into real estate and investing, you have to ask yourself a question. What do you want? Do you want depreciation? Do you want cash flow?
I want all of it.
Bro. But what's more important for you at that time? Right now, What's more important for me is cash flow. And I don't care what it costs me. If that makes sense. I get my ego is not bruised because I don't own it.
So it's not about being bruised. One thing about cash flow is the security that comes with cash flow.
Well, what do you do with the cash flow is the thing. Like now investing in something like that and not having a fucking plan, now that's fucking stupid. But I have a plan. Because I have a plan that this cash flow allows me to be able to ultimately purchase.
Right. Because
so I'm okay with investing into something that I don't own that's bringing me magnificent cash flow for the point because it doesn't take me a lot to get there.
And when I think of cash flow, right, I think of security. Like everybody wants, especially as a business owner, right? Anybody who says they're fucking fully secure in their business is lying to you because they all have ups and downs. $1 million businesses take massive hits every day. To where, okay, it's cash flow, but my cash flow is guaranteed more secure if I own it than it isn't, right? So like that's what I'm thinking about, right? So like, okay, and I'm betting on cash flow 30 years down in the road to where I'm building something now, right? And to where I'm thinking of something more permanent.
Yeah,
that's where we differ a little bit. But if again, it's no different than like call magicians, right? You're just taking the revenue.
Yeah. So when you look at like in a wholesale business, you can make, say making $100,000 your first year or whatever, right? So this year we'll just say, and this is for context, but let's just say we made over $100,000 our first month this year, right? And so when you talk about if I just took $100,000 from a wholesale business and I arbitrage $15,000 to get Airbnb up and going, right? That gives me 6 houses arbitrage. I don't own any of them, but what that gives me is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That gives me $12,000 a month in cash flow. And that's at the bottom spectrum. That's not counting the hot season, right? Because an average month for us in one of those properties may be between $5,000 to $7,000 gross a month. Whereas in the summer, we're hitting $12,000, $13,000 in a month gross.
Okay.
Right. And so you take that into what it is. And so I said this one property will make us $35,000 in a year. Now you go ahead and you multiply that by 5. Maybe you just say $20,000 a year. Right. You take all that money. What are you able to build with that money that you don't have to do much to get? It cost me $100,000 to get how much in cash flow? And now what does that allow me to be? Maybe I get 5 or 6, Airbnbs, and now I go buy five or six Airbnbs.
Or you're gonna be at a point, and you are at a point this year to where we have to buy real estate.
100%.
If I don't buy
and so that's how I look at it. I think a lot of people think of the security of it, and I tell them, like, at the end of the day, everyone bets on themselves at some point. And this is just where I bet on myself. I'm 100% secure in what I do and how I'm going about getting cash flow because of relationships that I build with people, and they understand. It's just not something that I would do if I don't trust you, first and foremost. And I want to know what your long-term plan is. How long do you plan on owning these properties? These people have already owned them for like 15 years. They bought them at a really good time.
Right,
cash. They just want their rent.
Bro, if they bought them cash and they just want their rent, I would, at the beginning, I'd be like, hey, in 5 years, I want to talk about us purchasing it from you on a note.
Conversations have been had.
Right, like to where I want to know
they're so bought in with them. They're so bought in on my success that they love being a part of it. And I've dropped that dime. I said, you own this amount of property. At some point, you don't have children. We will set it up to where I become your child. As funny as that sounds, right? But it's a long game. So yes, there's no security, man, but I'm betting on who I am as a person, my values, my reputation, just how I treat people. And ultimately, why wouldn't they want to be bought in on my success?
I don't trust people.
That's fine.
I don't trust people.
I don't do business with people I don't trust.
So I do business with people I trust, and then still, you know how many people lie, steal, cheat, and all this other shit.
Yeah.
To where we're over the weekend, right? We were talking about employees stealing, and one of the guys was like, "Yeah, so it's a common thing in a dentist office for your best employee to be the thief." And he was like, "Here's the 3 trends." He's like, "Number 1, they buy everybody else stuff. Number 2, they stay the latest, and there was like a third one." And he's like, and it's not an uncommon occurrence. It's like, it's a very, very, very common occurrence to where you're just getting stolen from.
Yeah, whatever. I don't worry about things like that. To me, that's negative stuff to think about. It's true. This shit happens.
I mean, it's true, but I just like being more hedged. Right, but then at the same time, none of the shit I do is fucking hedged. I'm so off the walls.
You know, what am I going to go spend this money on anyway? Like, I get that I can go put it as a down payment and buy a house and collect. You know, and let's be real, the down payment that it cost me to do some of these Airbnbs, the down payment that I would be able to afford would be in areas that I wouldn't even be able to Airbnb in. So cash flow,
right, in an area that's like worth it. And
so at that, you know what I mean? So then what am I cash flow? I get that there's the security, you know, but fuck, how many of those do I got to fucking buy?
That's why I made you consider like the partner thing.
Yeah.
To where like you can still leverage everything from that other person. And again, we have more time. They have more money and cachet.
Yeah.
With a bank.
Yeah.
To where even with our self-storage stuff, we'll bring in a couple people.
Yeah.
To where, okay, now we can buy a couple $1 million facility and it's not a thing. We get less cash flow, sure. But out the gate, we're more bankable to the banks and it's a lot easier, blah, blah, blah.
And maybe I just don't know how to do it yet, man. That could be what it is. You know, I'm just doing what I know and what's worked for me so far. I'm 100% sure there's probably a better way of doing it.
Does Kyle pay for renovations on his?
Kyle uses he does some of the arbiter. No. We don't pay for renovations. We have a budget, and within that budget, we try to see what we can get done to achieve the price that we want to achieve. And so, if that means just coming in and painting some cabinets, that's preference. That just means it's going to look better in our pictures, and it may cost me $600-700 to paint the cabinets throughout the whole house. To me, that's worth it. But I have a budget, so as long as it's within my budget, then I'm okay.
So you are going in and doing renovations
if it's within my budget.
If it's within the budget,
and it's more cosmetic. It's more cosmetic. We're not like the laundry room at one of ours in Tower, or the one that we have in Tower.
That one was intense, dude.
Huh? It was like $3,000. But it allowed our cleaners to be able to do laundry in an area, and it created a space for our guests to not have to go outside to the garage to wash and then bring it inside to dry it.
And so my next question would be, why would you be afraid to put that on the landlord?
Because the landlord's not the one that has an issue with it. Because anyone else would have no problem renting that house with that issue. That's a me issue.
But he wouldn't make the same amount of money.
Huh?
But he wouldn't make the same amount of money that he's going to make with you.
But he's bringing to me, him allowing me to use that house. That's enough value for me. I'm good, bro. I'm going to make that $3,000 back. I don't care. Like, to me, that's little problems. Like, I can sit here and fuss about the $3,000, but at the end of the day, how much money am I making on this house each month that compared to what I'm paying in rent?
I don't know why I'm so adverse against it, bro. I'm just adverse against the lack of security. When I'm going for cash flow, when I'm going for cash flow, like I said, I'm going for security forever. I'm to an extent, right? I mean, yeah, everything can burn down, but
we all are. Forever. We just choose our time when we're going to do it. We've wholesaled for 3 years with no security. You don't know your deal.
But that's why I'm doing cash flow.
Yeah,
that's why I'm going and buying other
stuff. It gives me security now. Like, even though it could be a false sense of security in a sense of all of my landlords decide like, oh, now I don't want to do it anymore. Like, but that's hypothetically speaking. Like, I'm gonna stop my growth because of the hypothetical fear. Like, no, I'm gonna fucking bet on myself and I'm just gonna go. And if it happens to occur, then, bro, the good thing about it is I know how to make money.
That is one.
But how much money can I make before I fucking get caught? If you think of, you know what I mean? Just to put it in reference, can I make fucking, $250,000 passively before fucking someone's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore?
Well, I mean, still, when you get to economies of scale, you're fine.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, I think I'm fine. That's why I'm okay with the cash flow now. Because what can I do with that money before anything negative necessarily occurs? And in the worst case scenario, what's the worst thing that happens? I got to spend $2,000 here, but fuck, I already made $35,000 this year off of that house.
Yes, and now you're going to run into like you need to buy real estate. So I just don't think you're going to be doing this long.
Doing what long?
High like the arbitrage because like now
no, because then I'm gonna run into a money problem.
Exactly.
And so with the money problem, I'm gonna start buying my own shit.
You're gonna have to just keep buying shit.
But you gotta understand that I've already invested my initial money into these arbitrage units. So it doesn't really matter at this point, because at that point it does become like a typical rental in the sense of like I'll fix whatever gets broken at the time, but it just gets added on to the stuff that I do have protection
into the company. All right, what else? What else? You still haven't convinced me, but what else?
Yeah, fine.
Diving.
I'm comfortable, bro. So that's all.
I know, right? You're comfortable.
So that's fine.
I'm questioning
people's opinion on it. It doesn't fucking matter because I'm fucking here at freaking 1:30 and I'm not tripping.
And at the same time, I'm questioning your process. With the same time, I'm so happy for you. That you had $7,000 in cash flow a month.
It's all a risk, man. It's all risky. We're all gambling. But that's where I thrive.
That is legitimately where we thrive. Diving into NFTs. And you don't do any crypto?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Why?
Because I don't know enough about it.
Do you want to learn more about it?
No. What we say, bro, you got to become bro. I don't knock anybody for it. Like I think it's fucking awesome,
bro. It's the craziest investment vehicle you could ever use.
But do you know how much time it will take me? Like you can teach me about it, but I don't even want to cloud my fucking mind with more info that I don't need to fucking use, because now I'm distracted from being great at the things that I'm trying to get great at.
For me, it's a fucking hedge because I'm freaked out by what the US dollar is going to be.
Bro, I don't care. That's fear-based.
It's not fear-based.
That's fear-based.
It's logical investing.
It's the fucking government, bro. At the end of the day, if the government wants you fucking broke, you're going to be broke. Like you're not defeating the fucking government. That's just what it comes down to.
No vehicle can grow as fast as crypto, right? So like never before in time has an asset been able to appreciate at 4,000% in a 6-month span.
How much is one share of Bitcoin right now?
So that's only Bitcoin. Like I'm not just talking
about How much is
Bitcoin.
One share of Bitcoin right now?
Bitcoin just hit 63.
63 what?
1,000.
Okay.
That's only Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So like there's Hex. Hex at the beginning of the year, Matt made $1 million out of Hex this year in a 6-month span.
But at a really good time because he had the knowledge on it too.
Right. But like again, like
and he took a risk because it wasn't secure that motherfucker was going to grow.
No, but there's like a 2-year span before that they're still growing.
Mm-hmm.
But even like you say the same thing about Bitcoin, say the risk about your fucking arbitrage shit.
Yeah, exactly. But you invest in crypto, but you won't invest in arbitrage?
No, I'd throw it in crypto any day.
Because one day they might sell it to me. Just like one day crypto might grow. But it's still a risk. You don't know.
No, I mean,
but why would I not take that risk?
But crypto's not going away.
The house ain't going nowhere. It might burn down. At that point, they may sell it to me a dime on a dozen because they got the insurance money.
But let me get back to my crypto point. So at no point in time has a vehicle been able to grow at that rate in that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like even if like we can buy real estate and we do create like X amount of returns, you're not creating 4,000% returns in a 6-month span. To where and again, you're going to look up stuff that's researched, like, okay, what is the back end technology of this? And all that other nonsense. Well, not nonsense, like the really good information you need to know. But like if you would have bought Cardano, Hex, the fuckers who did, buy Bitcoin a while ago, but you're coming up like even the goddamn Shiba coin, and I don't see any value in Shiba. Dudes were changed. They are never working again because they bought $1,000 worth of Shiba like a year ago, 2 years ago. Like crazy money.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. You almost got to have that type of money to be able to take that type of risk. Like if I'm making $1 million a year, I might throw about $100,000 towards some crypto and see if that shit works out. But I'm not. So I ain't throwing $100,000 towards shit that I don't know that's going to work out. I'll throw it at Airbnb though because I know it's going to make me some money.
Speculative crypto investing yet, right? In like the random fucking meme.
Yeah. Because now you're paying somebody else to do the work for you because they have the knowledge, they have the teams, they have the, like, you know what I mean? Like at that point, like in order for me to invest in something like that, obviously I'm going to do it through someone that I know, like, love, trust, stuff like that. But then I'm also paying for the value that they bring to me also.
Yes, and I've thought about this, right? Like, do you invest in like a fund? And sure, I was talking to a dude 2 weeks ago in Orlando. He was like, yeah, my friend makes X amount of return off of his crypto investments, and I just give him my money and he takes a share. I don't know why I'm not comfortable with that. I feel, again, it's another limiting belief I have to overcome, to where it's not that much knowledge and education that you have to gain if you spend time like over a 3-week span on YouTube, reading documentaries, and then you can like, okay, I understand the back end value. Like I understand everything that's going on here. And then you can do research on certain coins to where like, oh yeah, well, this one, they want to eliminate Social Security. Like they want to eliminate like on the blockchain. They're like, okay, no one will ever get their identity stolen again. That's something I believe in, right? And so again, it goes into investing in that.
So crypto becomes political.
No. No, I didn't explain it well enough.
I don't understand.
And then NFTs.
I was in Steve's training today. I don't understand. Can you help me understand this?
No.
No. So I have nothing against it. I don't like. I'm ignorant to it, and I'm okay with acknowledging that I'm ignorant to it. That I could be missing out on something, and I've just, in my mind, I've come to great terms. I'm okay with missing out on it if I'm just. To me, I don't even want to say it's not worth it at this point in time, because I'm probably missing out on something great, but. As of right now,
we'll have a talk in a year, and I'll show you how much you're missing out, fucker.
With all these unsecured fucking Airbnbs, I might be good by that time.
I'm debating whether or not I want to get the Tesla or like put $2,000 a month in crypto. I'll probably do both.
Bro, you're supposed to make enough money so you don't have to make those decisions.
Well, no, so I was like sitting there, like you get millionaire next door by the fucking broke people who tell you like, oh, you don't need a nice car.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, do we need this? Do we need that? Blah, blah, blah. Keep grinding. But at the same, and then I have my other mentors and friends like, bro, fucking feel good. Pull up feeling good.
Yeah.
You make enough fucking money. Like at this point, you're smart enough. You know what to do. You can think and create that amount of money.
Well, and everyone has different beliefs, right? We have friends who are very conservative, and that's it, but it works for them. So why wouldn't they stick to that? Right. And then we have friends who aren't conservative, and I just try to just be semi-smart about it. You know what I mean? Like I tell my wife all the time, like if we're tripping out, if worst come to worst, what's the worst thing that can happen? Right. We can't make this car payment, and say this car payment is like $500 a month. Gee, now, if we can't make a fucking $500 car payment a month, we got bigger issues in this fucking car.
What the fuck are we?
You know what I mean? And let's just say I believe in my ability to fucking make money more than I believe in the possibility of me not being able to make a $500 car payment.
Right.
And that's just how I look at things. What? Right? Is it $500 that I could be making more a month?
So that's what I'm thinking of. Like, okay, maybe even if I take the $2,000 to the Tesla and I still invest $2,000 in crypto, I'm thinking, okay, I should just take $4,000 and invest that into crypto. You know what I'm like? That's where my head's going.
Or maybe just do $2,000 this month and $2,000 next month.
And I got triggered by this by watching an Alex Hormozy video, and the dude makes like $20 million a year, and the fucker still drives a Prius. And he explained like word for word like why he did it. He was like, "Well, my goal is to be rich, not look rich." I was like, "Hey, fuck you." Right?
Well, but and there's the reason right there.
There's the reason
he didn't want. He's not buying. If you're buying it for other people, that's the wrong reason to buy it.
And I hate my car though. I hate my car.
Like that's all the reason you need, bro. Like I want a new fucking car. Like I work hard. I just want a nice car. I don't give a shit who fucking sees me in it. I'm not buying it for other people. I'm buying it because when I'm cold sometimes, like I get upset that I don't have a fucking heated steering wheel or heated seats, and I work too hard to not be comfortable by the time I get to my office.
So,
you know what I mean? Like shit. Or I get in a Honda and the power steering's going out, so I'm fucking sitting there going like this. Sometimes I just want to fucking whip that bitch with one hand. You know, like that's for me. That's not for no one else.
So my pushback on that is now at a point in time when you are raising cash, you're going to public events and everything else, you do have people do take you more seriously depending on the way you look. I'm not trying to come across as rich, but you need to look nice.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, then I use that, and that came from like the Bradley thing.
Yeah.
I probably have too many fucking people I'm following and fucking up my head.
Still got the Honda, bro.
And I'll keep my car though.
I can be humble as hell when I need to.
I can be humble as hell when I need to, right? I don't ever plan on going to.
But when I leave, I'm like, should I take the Honda? I want to be comfortable.
I don't want to be comfortable.
So I take my truck.
I love your truck. That was the other thing I was looking at. Yeah. Like What is it? The TRX, TRT, whatever. I don't know.
See now, okay. So when you talk about the truck that I have compared to like TRX, now what would be my reason for wanting to buy a TRX? That 100% would just be for like,
I want to go fast.
like, you know what I mean? Now that don't make no sense for me to go buy unless I got fucking buku bucks.
It's
and
only
I always tell people
$2,000 a month.
Huh?
It's only $2,000.
Oh, that's it? Yeah, bro, I can't justify that. Especially because I know like I'm 100% happy with what I got, and I would just be buying a fucking TRX to just have a TRX.
Oh, they go so fast.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, who am I racing, bro? Like, me. You know what I mean? Like, so I got to start thinking about shit like that. Like, why do you really want this truck? You know? And so, those are conversations I have with myself. Like, why are you buying this, or why do you want to buy this?
To me, so it's for the Tesla. It started off we were driving to Salt Lake all the time, and I wanted autopilot. But then I just refused to drive there anymore.
I don't think you have to like convince yourself of why you need a Tesla. Like, I think everyone needs a Tesla. After driving one of those damn things, everyone needs a Tesla.
Bro, everyone needs one.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm being such a bitch.
Yeah.
But I have been a bitch about fucking pulling the trigger. I put in the order like a month ago.
I said I always wanted to get to a point to where I bought like a car that I didn't need, but just because I liked it. So people can tell me like, oh, well, first off, not for people. It's just a car that you want, but you can't really justify like why you bought it. You just want it. Like I want to have one of those cars.
That's a flex.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, but it takes a certain level to get there. So I'm nowhere close to being able to do anything like that. But like, I love the Dodge Challengers. Like I want to fucking.
Bro, I hate them.
I love.
You want to know why I hate them?
What?
A fucking secretary can afford a Dodge Charger. It's like there's no exclusivity.
You know, I want like the big boy. You know what I mean? Like I just want a fun car. Maybe it'll change. Maybe it'd be something else. But like I just want a car to have fun with. You know what I mean? Like just to have it. You know what I mean? Do fun shit with. You know, do ratchet shit with my friends. You know, like stuff like that. But like I couldn't justify doing it because I got 3 kids. So like, who are you fitting in this sports car? That's like nobody. You know what I mean? But like, but at that point, it don't matter.
It don't matter.
It is me. I fit in it. You know what I'm saying? And so like people can be like, oh, well, why would you buy a car that you don't even? Because I can.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near to that point. You know, it'll be years before I get to that point. But you know, that's like a bucket list type thing to be able to buy a car I really don't need. I just want it.
Do you have a vision board?
Do
you have a vision board?
I don't.
I need to. I had a Tesla on there, and I was like, oh, fuck, we can buy it. But then I'm going back and forth on that. But the next one I want is like a legit Ferrari. Like,
my truck was in my mind was on my vision board.
Okay, but I mean, and again, I probably could buy it this year. Well, I'm talking to my CPA tomorrow to where I have a tax liability.
You'll probably need to buy one. You
Right?
know? I think Dean just posted something like that. Like like you know, you get to a point where you gotta have something to kind of write off of it.
But the Ferrari,
yeah,
and we'll end on that. I want a fucking red. Well, I want a black one, right? Like a black Ferrari that sounds mean. Kalani hates the sound of cars.
Yeah,
but I love them. Like I love this. I love the sound of your truck when you start.
Like, the truck and a car is just a different sound, man. I had an 88 step size single cab Silverado. It was 88, and I had it when I was in college. And the fucking sound of it is just different. Like you can get in a car, and a car is just a different hum of a truck. And since I've not had my truck, I've always had the it's just different. Pushing the pedal of a truck, or just it's just different. The ride, so I had wanted that for a while now, and so that kind of tied into that.
I'm trying to think. Do we have anything else we were going to cover? This one went a little bit longer.
This went long, so we got to go ahead and start letting some folks go. Sorry, guys. I mean, we definitely hate to cut it off like that, but I mean, we're here every week, same time. We got family obligations. I know I do.
Right, and you got coaching obligations.
Yeah, so some things we got to get to.
And thanks for Justin found me on Zach Ginn's Flip with Rick YouTube channel. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming and following. And Armand, I think Armand said 100% to just buy the fucking Tesla.
Just buy the fucking Tesla, bro. Just do it and just live with what occurs after. Solve the problem. Solve the next problem.
Solve the next problem.
You know what I mean? It's easier to solve the problem in your Tesla.
Okay, I got one more. Then my next mentor was like, bro, I don't buy any car unless I'm buying it cash.
Okay.
That hurt my soul.
I'm not that rich though.
Right. I'm not that I do not have $100,000 I want to use
because he has a
to
money
buy a
problem.
car.
He has to buy it. He has to like show that cash going somewhere. Like I'm still at a point where small write-offs are good enough for me. Right. You know what I mean? I don't need 6-figure write-offs.
Right. Know? If I'm using that 6-figure write-off, that thing's going into fucking real estate. It's not going into a goddamn car.
Again, there's levels. Him spending $100,000 on something doesn't fucking faze him. That's like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like I always say it all the time. Like, you know, you get these basketball players, these football players that can go buy these fucking cars for $350,000, and we're like, bro, like you bought that shit cash.
They get that in a game.
And he's like, bro, like that's 1 week for me. You know what I mean? There's levels.
There's levels.
You know what I mean?
There's
like
levels. There's levels, bro. I think that, bro, we need to level up. That's the one thing I couldn't get my mind over. So I was like, bro, what? And he buys all his rolls cash, and he's been buying rolls cash until he was like 27.
Dave Ramsey.
Fuck Dave Ramsey. Fuck Dave Ramsey. I said it. Dave Ramsey creates more broke people than anybody else in America.
Limited beliefs.
I'm sorry, Jake.
Every time I ask someone when I talk to people, they're just like, got 10 more years, or I got like 1 more year left to pay off my house. And I'm like, and then what? Like, well, I won't have any expenses. I'm like, bro, you got all that equity built up in that house, and the bank's just lending your money out for you and making money off of it. You got a $500,000 house that the bank's just going ahead and taking that money and just lending it out and just making all this money off of it. Meanwhile, you just okay with just not having $1,000 mortgage payment.
And with Dave Ramsey, he tells you to live shitty. Like, hey, don't go buy Starbucks. Starbucks ain't gonna change your life, bitch. It ain't. Not drinking Starbucks is not gonna change your life.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe over 30 years that makes a dent, but if that makes a dent in your life, you're following the wrong people because I'm gonna tell you to go fucking sell something.
You did the wrong shit. I guess my thought behind that is just like, we never say this to really just say that the way someone's doing something is wrong. It's taken, days and years of changing the way that you think about things, and
reframing everything,
or asking questions about shit, you know? And so the thought to me of paying off a house, I felt like that's something like as minorities, Mexicans, Asians, blacks, whatever it may be, like that's just something that we haven't overcome, because how many houses do we go in Southwest Fresno to go buy these houses that are paid off, and people are like, I don't need to sell my house, it's paid for, and it's like, okay, like so do you want to just, maybe you should refinance it, go purchase 2 or 3 more properties, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be
where are you at in your life, right? Because like if I'm making, let's say I'm making $10 million a year, and I go buy my house $10 million cash, and I still have $30 million in the bank, and I don't have to worry about anything else. Mm-hmm. That's a different situation.
Because now that's your primary residence.
Like I'm talking about like your primary residence, like bro. And even if you have a game plan of, I talked to a guy this weekend who has 100 free and clear houses in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. He's like, bro, I did it. And he was like Michael Zuber. He was like, I was a firefighter and I paid them all down. At no point in time did I have more than $3,000 in my bank account ever. Mm-hmm. But he had a plan.
But he was okay with what his cash flow was each month. Not his cash flow, but he was okay with what he was making. Like he was happy with his job. He loved the income that he gave him. He saved, maybe took $1,000 from him. He was like, I can live off of $3,000 a month, whatever it may be, right? And he's like, anything extra over $3,000 a month, I'm gonna buy houses. And so he just bought houses. It really didn't affect him.
Paid down the
houses, right? Or put a renter in there, and the renters he didn't take no cash flow from it
on top of it. So just like,
you know what I'm saying? So like maybe he would have made a little bit of money off of it, but like, and I tell people that like if you're a teacher or something like that, go refinance your house, use this money as a down payment. You still got 20 years left, right? Take all that cash flow that you get from the rent and literally just fucking pay it down. Don't take no money from them 4 houses. Just pay it down. Pay it down. By the time you're ready to retire as a teacher, you should have about 4 houses that are free and clear, making you $1,500 a month on 4 houses. What's that? $6,000 a month?
All right, that's way more money than I've ever made.
You know what I mean? So if you're happy with where you are now, now think about what you feel like you can do and go create more for yourself. So by the time you are retired, you do have a lot more going on. I'm not telling you to go quit your job and fucking go be a millionaire.
I am telling you to quit your job and go be a millionaire.
I'm just telling you just to make some decisions with the money that you've already invested in your home.
Yeah. All right, bro. I think we can wrap this up.
Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Hey, again, make sure if you guys are here watching this stream live, the video will be on Facebook, so you can go ahead and share it with your friends. Comment on it. Tell us what your favorite part of this episode was. Make sure that you go to Apple Podcasts, subscribe to our podcast, Free Agent REI. And
I'm posting it to mine too. I'm posting it to the Winning Move.
Okay.
To get some more traction.
So go ahead and follow our podcast or subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts and share this video with all your loved ones, man. And that's all that we ask. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in. It means a lot to us. And we'll see you guys next week.
And go follow us both on Instagram. And please, please, please share it with all your friends. If it brought you any value, if it made you think differently, if it made you laugh, in whatever way, share it with your friends. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Free Agent Real Estate Investing Podcast. Don't forget to give us a 5-star review. If you would like to stay in touch with Stratton and myself, follow us on Instagram. And please be sure to subscribe to our Free Agent REI Podcast YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up.